Good afternoon. The province is one step closer to getting shovels in the ground on the Yonge North subway extension.
Officials today saying it has awarded a contract to design and build the tunnels. CTV's Natalie Johnson is live with more on the announcement. Natalie.
Hi, Raheem. That's right. This is a contract being awarded to design and build the twin tunnels that will extend the Yonge subway line up from Finch Station into York Region, ultimately connecting riders to Markham, Vaughan, and Richmond Hill. It is an 8-kilometer subway extension that will include about 8 stations along the way. This is, of course, many years away still from being ready to ride. The Ontario line must be complete ahead of that as a relief route so as not to overload the Yonge line. But the Premier was today touting the fact that this project is a means of combating the tariffs and overall economic uncertainty by investing in work here in Ontario and connecting residents to jobs. Here's more from Doug Ford this morning.
Folks, this is a major milestone in our plan to protect Ontario by investing in transit to reduce gridlock, support economic growth, and keep Ontario workers on the job. The Yonge North subway extension will have more than 90,000 daily trips, and once it's built, there'll be 26,000 more people within a 10-minute walk of transit, reducing daily travel times from Markham to downtown Toronto by 22 minutes.
And so no date is being quoted just yet as far as when that Yonge North subway extension might be ready to ride. But certainly the question on the minds of a lot of transit riders has to do with the much more tangible date on the opening of the Eglinton LRT. The head of Metrolinx was asked this morning where that stands, whether a September opening for that line is still realistic. Here's what he had to say about the trials that are operating right now on the Eglinton LRT.
What we are finding out from this deliberate period of stress testing is that one of the issues to address collectively is vehicle availability and reliability. These vehicles are 10 years old. They're only just now beginning to run the kilometers that were intended for revenue service. And as we do that, we find out what their maintenance profile is. We get a better picture of how to keep them in service so that we can build the availability of vehicles to a level that can meet peak capacity. We're hoping that we're a few weeks away from being able to say that we've got that kind of availability and reliability.
Now, once that part of the plan is complete, the Metrolinx plan from there would be to run a separate 30-day trial. If that goes according to plan and is done safely and reliably, they would declare substantial completion on the project toward the end of September and look to ramp up service to the public from there. Reporting live, I'm Natalie Johnson. Michelle, over to you.
Thank you, Natalie. The Prime Minister is meeting with his cabinet and premiers today to discuss those U.S. tariffs that now include a baseline 35% duty. Mark Carney will meet first virtually with his inner circle, then later with the First Ministers. The PM is expected to update them on any progress being made and potentially what the next steps might be. This morning, Ontario Premier Doug Ford spoke about the approach needed to ensure Canada gets a fair deal.
So you have to respect your largest customer. U.S. is our largest customer. We respect them, but it has to go both ways. You can't have tariffs on one side and not the other. I still stand by what I say, dollar for dollar, tariff for tariff. They understand strength, not weakness, and we should never, ever roll over and be weak.
The meeting with the premiers is happening less than a week after U.S. President Donald Trump raised the stakes with the tariff increase. The latest levy took effect on Friday after the two countries failed to hit an August 1st deadline to secure a new trade agreement. Meanwhile, the U.S. ambassador to Canada says we may not be first in line.
Canada is a priority, but I mean, there's a whole lot of countries that are priorities. But right now, I think the opportunity area right now is to do something potentially with China.
Carney said yesterday he has not talked to Trump in recent days, but will speak with him, quote, when it makes sense. The Prime Minister added about 85% of trade with the U.S. remains tariff-free because of CUSMA. Yesterday, 2 senior Canadian cabinet ministers were in Mexico for talks with another of our major trading partners.
The bottom line is that we are building the momentum in the Mexico-Canada relationship, and we're making sure that this relationship will stand the test of time and that it is a comprehensive strategic relationship on the axes of the economy and geopolitical issues, including security.
Mexico's president described Tuesday's meeting with the Canadian ministers as very good. Today, Claudia Sheinbaum ruled out a bilateral trade agreement with Canada when asked about the possibility. She said there is no need because there is already a trade deal with the United States, Canada, and Mexico. The tariff turmoil is also leading to a lot of uncertainty in Canada's auto sector. But despite the concerns, two automotive parts companies are moving ahead with a joint venture in Windsor, Ontario. CTV's Robert Lothian has more on what the major announcement could mean for the city's future.
A multi-million-dollar signature linking parts manufacturer Mint and automotive supplier Arson. The two sides announcing Tuesday Phase 2 of Mint's $300 million Windsor manufacturing plant.
So we are very honored to have the opportunity to stand on the shoulder of a giant.
The investment bolsters Mint's plans for producing electric vehicle components here in Windsor. This separate 150,000 square foot facility will produce parts for Arson clients.
So they are entering into this joint venture to enjoy the competitiveness that we can provide while serving their longtime customer, their main customer.
Though Chin was hesitant to directly name that main customer, a news release labels Arson as a major supplier of Toyota, who previously announced plans to produce 1 million EVs annually by 2027.
We actually have a facility in Stratford today. And so some of these products that will come out of this facility probably will land in that factory.
Mint first announced plans in April to build more than 300,000 square feet of automotive manufacturing space. The investment comes as Canada faces a flurry of U.S. tariffs and waning EV demand. But those tensions, Turpin says, will end eventually.
We think that that is going to be short-lived, that the two countries will continue to work towards some mutual agreement. So we want to make sure that we're not letting politics drive our business decisions.
The development sits on 54 acres of vacant land on Cabana Road East. Despite the uncertainty, Windsor Mayor Drew Dilkins says there are $6 billion worth of projects in the pipeline.
We are putting the city of Windsor in a great position to be able to service and expand the airport land, which means companies like this who are looking to make investments and hire 1,000+ people in the community, we are ready to go at their speed.
Mint plans to open the doors on its new facility in September.
And that's CTV's Robert Lothian reporting for us. We'll have more news in a moment, but first here's a live look at the city this afternoon. You can see the sky once again blanketed by wildfire smoke drifting from northern Ontario and the prairies. We're also dealing with heat and humidity in the GTA. Let's bring in Jessica Smith, who's here with a look at the current conditions. Hey, Jess.
Hey, Raheem, you're right. You can definitely see all that wildfire smoke. We're not dealing with any alerts or warnings right now, but it doesn't mean we're not still contending with it out there. So if you do have any breathing challenges, just limit your time outdoors if possible. A few light clouds this morning and some pop-up showers in the vicinity, but for the most part, we're staying relatively dry. The good news with that wildfire smoke, we do see some relief as we head in towards the end of the week, but we've got to get there first. Temperature-wise, it is quite warm out there. We're sitting kind of in that mid-20 range. It gets into the upper 20s once again, and we are feeling that heat and humidity into that second half of the day. All that daytime heating really starts to ramp up. It gets really warm into the end of the week, and I wouldn't be surprised if we have some heat warnings that do pop up. But for now, no heat warnings, just warm weather and sunshine. We're at 23 through the islands, feeling like 31, 24 through Pearson, a little cloudier out there. But overall, we're holding on to a decent amount of sunshine into the afternoon. And again, a very seasonal daytime high, but you factor in that humidex, and it feels into the mid-30s. So just be careful spending time outdoors. Coming up, your full forecast. We'll break down all that heat on the way, but right now, I'll send things back over to Raheem.
Thanks, Jess.
Thanks.
Police have released images of two suspects wanted on Canada-wide warrants in a deadly shooting in the parking lot of Yorkdale Mall last month. 23-year-old Brian Emmanuel Fuentes Gramajo of Longueuil, Quebec, and 28-year-old Jimmy Prudent of Montreal are wanted for first-degree murder. A third suspect, 20-year-old Bradley Lucante Nicholas, was arrested on Monday in Quebec and charged with first-degree murder. 28-year-old Kashif Jamal Bentley Jean was fatally shot in the parking lot of the mall just after 6 a.m. on July 17th. Investigators say the shooters fled the area before the officers arrived on scene. Anyone with information is asked to call police.
Police are investigating a suspected arson this morning after flames broke out at a mushroom dispensary on Yonge Street near Wellesley. Firefighters were called to the business just after 3:30. Fire crews describe it as a small debris fire. The flames are now extinguished and police are on scene. No one was injured.
We're following a story we brought you over the weekend. A local faith leader and her 2 young daughters are pleading for help as they face deportation.
Today, she is meeting with the CBSA, hoping to make her case. CTV's John Musselman is live with the latest in the situation. John.
Hi, Michelle. We're still on a holding pattern here outside the CBA offices here at the International Center. We'll show you some video this morning. Rosalind Nyanyeki and her 2 daughters arrived here this morning for this hearing at 11 o'clock this morning. They are facing a threat of deportation back to Kenya. Now, the community has rallied behind Rosalind. She is a well-known local reverend in the Canadian community here. She had sought refugee status and permanent residency, but that has been denied. But she's appealing that decision. But the problem now is she's facing this immediate deportation hearing. She's hoping to get a deferral. We did speak to one of her supporters this morning. Here's what she had to tell us.
She is here like many other refugees because her life is being persecuted. She fled persecution because of a very powerful church leader back home. She is still very much at risk. And it's important that she be able to get safety and protection that Canada promised her.
And our understanding is she is still waiting for this hearing to happen. We're on standby here to get her reaction and what the decision will be, whether or not she has to leave Canada tomorrow or if she can stay. Reporting live, I'm John Musselman. I'll send it back to you.
Thank you, John. A report released today from the Toronto Real Estate Board reveals GTA home sales were up in July.
The numbers, Treb says, were some of the best they had seen in 4 years. CTV's Beth McDonnell is live with the details. Beth.
Yeah, it seems that home sales in the GTA are heating up. The Toronto Real Estate Board says it's seen the best July this year in 4 years. Sales rose 10.9% in July compared to July last year, with 6,100 properties changing hands. The board says sales in July were also up 13% compared to sales in June this year. The average selling price is down 5.5% compared to a year ago to $1,050,000.
Certainly over the last few months, we've seen an improvement in affordability, both in terms of average selling prices trending lower as well as interest rates lower than they were a year ago. And so we started to see buyers moving off the sidelines and back into the marketplace as we move through July. And that's important given the economic uncertainty that we've seen over the past few months, because we actually would have expected to see more activity earlier on in the year. So this suggests that perhaps we'll see a stronger fall and moving into the winter.
To be queued. There are more than 30,000 active listings in the GTA, up 26% compared to last year. Reporting live, I'm Beth McDonnell. Michelle, back to you.
Thank you, Beth. An Ontario court has approved the sale of the El Mocambo. Former Dragon's Den star Michael Weckerly bought the legendary concert venue in 2014 for $3.8 million and spent about $35 million on extensive renovations. However, court documents filed earlier this year show the businessman had defaulted on nearly $56 million in loans tied to the property. The sale to a company controlled by an executive at Brookfield Asset Management is expected to close in the coming weeks. Weckerly called the sale of the venue very important to its future.
Durham region is facing a lot of criticism over a new revolving door with a close to $1 million price tag.
As you can imagine, the expensive entrance sparked plenty of complaints from taxpayers, so much so the region is offering support to the staff who are handling all the angry calls. CTV's Janice Golding has the story.
They're not in use yet, but the new energy-saving revolving doors at Durham Regional Headquarters are already generating a lot of heat.
Oh my God, I'm in a good mood. Don't get me started.
I guess we have money to blow just for the city.
Regional Councillor Chris Leahy first brought our attention to this issue a couple weeks ago.
When I first heard about the final cost of the revolving door system, I was shocked. Just under $1 million.
Leahy says the project was originally supposed to cost about $740,000.
The spending was, I've got numbers from 901 to 912, plus I have staff time, you have different things, you've got HST, you have all these costs.
Since then, the region's 311 operators have been inundated with angry, frustrated calls, prompting the manager of Service Durham to send out an email to them saying, I know that some callers have expressed their frustrations in ways that are inappropriate and at times even verbally abusive. Please know that I see the effort, professionalism, and grace you continue to demonstrate in the face of this. The letter urging operators to take breaks and to seek support from the Employee Assistance Program when needed.
It wasn't just about 2 doors being replaced. This was about a reconstruction of the entrance into the building.
Regional Chair John Henry says city staff, including councillors, are used to fielding complaints. But in this case, he says, the anger is misplaced. He says a water pipe above the doors burst a few years ago, and given the existing sliding door system was reaching the end of its 20-year life expectancy, a decision was made to revamp the entire entryway.
The entire base inside the doors was excavated down to take on a new concrete pad that was put in place to support the door. That was part of the remodeling of the entranceway that came in. There's 2 accessible doors as you come into the building, plus the revolving door.
Still, Councillor Leahy says he wants the region to undertake a value for money audit on the entire upgrade project to make sure taxpayers are getting their money's worth. In the meantime, Leahy asks that people not take their frustrations out on 311 operators that are not involved in decision-making, but to instead register to speak at the September 10th Committee of the Whole meeting.
Taxpayers want to get to the bottom of this. I agree with them. If you are upset about how much was spent on the revolving doors, come through these doors on September 10th and speak to council.
Janice Golding, CTV News.
Now to Hamilton, where police have charged one person after a Good Samaritan's purse was stolen as she tried to help a shooting victim.
The theft occurred on July 11th, the night that Belinda Sarkodie was shot and killed outside a shopping mall. A woman tried to help Sarkodie as she lay on the ground outside Jackson Square, and the Good Samaritan's purse containing ID, debit cards, and other valuables was stolen. Hamilton police say they used security camera video and store purchase records to track down a suspect. 35-year-old Chala Ogden of Hamilton has been charged with theft, fraud, and possession of property obtained by crime. Hamilton police say the people who tried to help Sarkodie acted with courage and compassion, and they will hold anyone who tried to exploit the situation accountable.
A driver pulled over on the way to his birthday party in York Region learned there is no excuse for stunt driving.
Ma, you have to come pick me up. The police pulled me over.
I'm sure you're aware why I pulled you over.
What did I do?
You're speeding.
Speeding? I'm on my way to my birthday party. Okay. I haven't driven the Ferrari for a while.
York Regional Police posted this video on social media yesterday of the incident last fall. The driver seemed quite oblivious as to why police pulled him over in his white Ferrari. Police told him he'd been going 130 kilometers an hour in a 70 zone. He asked to see the radar, and the officer obliged before his vehicle was impounded. Air Canada flight attendants have voted overwhelmingly in favor of strike action.
Now the two sides are working towards a deal before it affects hundreds of thousands of passengers. CTV's Craig Krause reports.
The clock is ticking to make a deal before passengers at YVR and across the country could be left scrambling.
This past week, our union was given a clear mandate: fight for a deal or take action if Air Canada refuses to negotiate one.
Tuesday, the union representing over 10,000 Air Canada flight attendants said nearly all voted in favor of strike action if necessary, in a move that could allow them to walk off the job as early as this month.
They can afford to pay us fairly and without raising prices for the public.
Flight attendants in Canada and the U.S. are asking for higher wages and compensation for all their time worked, challenging contracts that pay for time in the air, but not when they arrive before boarding. Air Canada responded in a statement, writing it is eager to resume discussions which the union had suspended during the vote and is determined to reach a fair and equitable collective agreement that recognizes the contributions of its flight attendants and supports the competitiveness and long-term growth of the company. In Richmond, YVR tells CTV News that they are watching the negotiations closely, writing, "We hope that the parties can reach a mutually beneficial agreement as quickly as possible, but can't speculate the impacts or timing of the potential labor disruption. Air Canada believes that there is more than enough time to reach a deal. The 21-day cool-off period expires on August 16th. Air Canada says no job action can take place before that time at the earliest." Craig Crowe, CTV News, Vancouver.
Today marks the 80th anniversary of the atomic bombing of Hiroshima, and the city held a moment of silence. A memorial was held in the Japanese city remembering those who died when the United States dropped a nuclear bomb in 1945. 3 days later, in the nearby city of Nagasaki, a second atomic bomb was dropped. The bombs killed more than 200,000 people and in the blasts and related radiation sickness. Jess.
Well, Michelle, another hot and humid day, but fairly seasonal. We're not done with the wildfire smoke just yet, so as you spend time outside, just be mindful of that, especially if you have any breathing challenges like asthma or COPD. At least we get a little sunshine into the afternoon, and we'll get a little brighter out there. We'll sit around 26 later on today, but our high is 27. Regardless, it still feels in that low to mid-30 range, and that easterly wind not doing much to cool things down. If you like the heat, just wait until the weekend because it gets nice and warm back into the 30s. Coming up, I'll have a full look at your long-range forecast.
Well, here we are, the midweek mark already. I've been off for a couple of weeks, and I cannot believe the summer weather. I had 2 straight weeks of sunshine and heat at times, definitely some smoke in the mix. But if you look at the rest of this week, I mean, there's no rain.
There hasn't been rain. We had sunshine. We just couldn't see it because it was blanketed, but it was still hot out there, and we're dealing with the humidity. And it's one of those days today where you can still see the smoke in the air.
Oh, yeah, it's very tangible. So although we don't have any statements or warnings in place, it doesn't mean the smoke isn't still there. It just isn't at the level where it prompts that criteria to alert a warning or a statement. But if you're going to spend any time outside, just be careful if you have COPD, breathing challenges. Even if you don't, if you're doing excessive exercise, it could be challenging. Weather is brought to you by the Presler Law Firm. Injury lawyers you don't pay unless they win. Now, it is a smoky one out there. We will see a little more sunshine kind of break through into the afternoon. And by the end of the week, we do get some reprieve from all the smoke, but it is going to linger as we head through the next couple of days. So something to keep in the back of your mind when it comes to outdoor plans. But as Michelle mentioned, it's been a hot start to the summer. It continues as we settle into the month of August, so no real change taking place there. We're sitting at 24 right now. It feels like 31. Peawanuck still nice and hot. 27. They're actually warmer than we are in extreme northern Ontario. But this ridge in the jet stream that's kind of encompassing the entire province means everybody gets the warmth. As we head throughout the afternoon, we'll climb up to 27, very seasonal, still feeling into the mid-30s, and it's the same almost right across southern Ontario. We have a UV index, again, right across the board at an 8, very high. Even though we don't see brilliant sunshine, it doesn't mean you're not still going to get a burn if you're outside without the right protection. Into this evening, sitting at 20 degrees, so just above that seasonal mark. We still have a fairly light wind throughout the day, but it doesn't do much to cool things down. Again, that wildfire smoke, we're still dealing with those wildfires in northern Ontario, throughout the prairies. And it's still drifting down towards us. We do get a bit of a reprieve, though. Again, we head into the end of the week. That smoke will start to shift its way east. So unfortunately for our friends in eastern Ontario, southern Quebec, it moves out a little bit further east. But we get a break here in southern Ontario. Temperature-wise today, nice and warm. We're dealing with a bit of shower activity out towards areas through Niagara, but for the most part, the GTA staying nice and dry. We're not really dealing with any significant rain over the next few days. So if your plants are really dry, your grass, if you're a farmer, it is going to be a challenging week ahead. Over the next couple of days, again, we're holding on to the heat. The only rain really we're seeing in the area for the most part is through Hamilton, Niagara throughout the afternoon. That dissipates relatively quickly. We get another little burst up towards Owen Sound, but truly there's no real big, heavy, widespread downpour in the week ahead. Into your Thursday morning, a little more cloud cover, a little more sunshine, but we're still dealing with that wildfire smoke that adds that bit of a film or a haze to the air. And then the heat just starts to climb as we head into the weekend. I wouldn't be surprised through the end of the week into the weekend if we fall into heat warning criteria, because we get into that 2 or more days of 31 or higher and those overnight lows of 20 or higher. So those are the warning criteria for heat. But today, tomorrow, into our Friday, again, relatively close to that seasonal mark, but the humidex values get really, really hot through your Friday, through your Saturday. Saturday, it is going to feel like 39. Sunday, it is going to feel like 40. So if you're spending time outside, yes, we want to enjoy the summer weather, but you got to do it safely. Again, as we get through Saturday onwards, this does put us in heat warning criteria for your Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So we'll keep a close eye on that. But regardless, it is hot, it is humid, it is sunny. Get out and enjoy it, but do it safely. Hopefully this helps you plan. For now, send things back over to Raheem and Michelle.
Thanks, Jess.
Thanks.
In the Ottawa region, there is little to no rain in the forecast, which is bad news for farmers. They're feeling the effects of 3 straight months of below average rainfall.
Some are seeing dry fields for the first time in years, while others say their crops are still hanging on. CTV's Dave Charbonneau has more.
Last year was the wettest year ever, and this year is the driest I've seen. We want moisture to keep the silks moist.
At Maple Hill Urban Farm in Ottawa's West End, manager Don Trott says this season's crop of corn might not be as big as in years past.
I really haven't been concerned about the dry weather until the last week or so when corn starts tasseling. And that's the kind of a critical time for the corn crop.
The forecast in Ottawa and Eastern Ontario shows a minimal chance of rain over the next week. Environment Canada's rainfall in July was about half of the normal average. That could affect crops, including corn.
Corn's pollinating, the silks are moist, and the pollen's got to hit that moist silk in order to pollinate the corn. And then you need the moisture to fill out the kernels.
Look at it, it's right there. There's lots of water in the soil.
On another section of the same farm, farmer Steve Baker says he's not worried for now.
Also, the plant is going to collect humidity every morning. It's going to run it right down its stalk into the ground, right at its root. So, yeah, I don't worry too much about dry weather.
You can see it dry.
Over at Veggie Trail Farms, some of their crops have also been affected by the hot, dry weather.
My kale is coarse because it's hot, it's dry. The leaves are coarser than normal.
But many of their plants are doing fine. Owner Tammy Bannon says they are built to cope with these types of conditions.
It affects us, but my plants are more drought tolerant. Because we don't irrigate, okay, the roots go down. They go down deep. And feel the moisture on the root.
Yeah, it's nice and cool too.
Okay, it's cool and it's moist down there, and all those nutrients are deep down in the soil.
Some produce may be smaller this year due to the lack of rain, but Bannon says there's a silver lining to the quality.
Corn, tomatoes, peaches, you know, they'll be smaller, but they'll be sweeter.
Dave Charbonneau, CTV News.
A warning about an invasive species that's been found in Lake Simcoe. It's an aquatic plant with razor-sharp leaves, and officials want to make sure it's not showing up anywhere else.
This is what it looks like, you know, when it's vibrant and healthy, and it has these serrated leaves here that will cut individuals if it's handled.
Water soldier, a prohibited species in Ontario, was first found in Cook's Bay last summer. The plant floats just below the surface and can cut swimmers while also choking out native plants and damaging ecosystems. Now experts are asking boaters, swimmers and local residents to report any sightings in other parts of the lake.
It's very easy to identify compared to the native plants. It's a very different green. It's kind of a lighter green compared to the native species that we have out there.
The big problem with this plant is that it's going to affect habitat for fishes, it's going to affect habitat for waterfowl, migratory birds, etc. And it's also going to heavily impact our ability to recreate on this waterway. So whether you're boating, whether you're angling, whether you're swimming, this plant is going to have extreme impacts. And that's why we're trying to make sure that this plant stays in Cook's Bay, hopefully work towards, mitigating its spread.
Ontario is one of the only places in North America with known populations of the water soldier species, including the Trent River, Bay of Quinte, and parts of eastern Ontario.
It's been 27 years since measles was declared eliminated in Canada, but a surge in cases could change that. After the break, you'll hear from a woman who was hospitalized despite being vaccinated decades ago. Canadian medical experts say measles transmission in our country continues to soar.
As CTV's health reporter Pauline Chan tells us, it could result in Canada losing its status as a country in which measles has been eliminated in a matter of weeks.
Canada was declared to have eliminated measles in 1998.
So measles elimination is defined by the World Health Organization, and it means that within a certain geographical area, in this case Canada, that there is no sustained transmission of measles over a 12-month period.
Jana Shapiro from the University of Toronto says it doesn't mean there were zero cases, just no sustained transmission.
And now that we've seen a resurgence in the past year or so in Canada, we are at risk of losing that elimination elimination status in 2025.
10 of our 13 provinces and territories have seen cases. Alberta has over 1,600 cases of measles, and Ontario has seen more than 2,300.
We really had our bulk of our cases in kind of March, April, but that's not yet the case in Alberta. I think there's still quite a few new cases being reported on a weekly basis.
Many of the cases sprang from a single event in New Brunswick last October, which led to transmission in other provinces.
I have a lot of concerns, very deep concerns, professionally, foremost, and also personally. Professionally, because measles is truly the most contagious virus that you can come in contact with.
Michelle Knorr was diagnosed with measles in May and was hospitalized for several days despite getting a vaccination decades ago. And as a teacher, she worries about measles spread.
Average 32 kids in a classroom in city schools. It would be a really dangerous thing to have classrooms of children taken out by the measles. And most will manage it. Most will be able to be resilient and overcome it, but some may not.
Shapiro says Canada could lose its measles eliminated status as early as October and says public health vaccination efforts must continue. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
People are being asked not to eat a popular chocolate made by the brand Dubai over salmonella concerns. 9 people have been hospitalized and dozens of salmonella cases have been reported after an outbreak linked to pistachios and pistachio-containing products. Canada's Food Inspection Agency has now issued a recall warning for Dubai brand pistachio and Knefe milk chocolate. The Public Health Agency says 52 cases of salmonella have been confirmed across 4 provinces since early March. Quebec has the most with 39, followed by Ontario with 9.
A new study confirms verbal abuse during childhood has a similar impact as physical abuse. According to the journal BMJ Open, people who experience physical abuse as a child were at a 50% increased risk of reporting low mental health in adulthood compared with those with no abuse. Those who experienced verbal abuse had a 60% increased likelihood of low well-being. Authors also say verbal abuse in U.S. families increased while physical abuse has declined. Verbal abuse includes blaming, insulting, criticizing, or threatening children.
Still to come, many people use websites to buy and sell items through e-transfers, but some scammers are taking advantage of the process. Details after the break. A battle is underway in the United States over files related to alleged sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein and whether those files should be made public. CTV's Washington Bureau Chief Joy Malbin has the latest on the bid to get the details of an interview with former Epstein associate Ghislaine Maxwell released.
The president's happy to talk about anything but his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. Under pressure from his supporters to share the files, the White House is seriously considering releasing audio recordings or a transcript from the 2-day interview between Todd Blanche, Trump's former personal lawyer, and Epstein accomplice Ghislaine Maxwell, convicted of sex trafficking young girls. After her cooperation, Maxwell was suddenly transferred to a minimum security prison camp in Texas, a rare move for a sex offender. Survivors fear a presidential pardon might be next.
Anything he talked about with her or the fact that he did that, not unusual, number one, and most importantly is something that would be totally above board.
The family of Virginia Giuffre wants everything made public. She fought for herself and other survivors, settling out of court against Prince Andrew in 2022, testifying that it was Maxwell who recruited her to have sex with powerful men. She committed suicide last April.
Still to the day that we lost her, she was still fighting for those documents to be released. They are sitting in our court system right now.
A Republican-led congressional committee wants to know, too, issuing nearly a dozen subpoenas to high-profile political figures like Bill and Hillary Clinton, FBI directors, and justice officials.
They've certainly cast a very wide net, and you have people from all political parties being subpoenaed to come. Will the public ever hear this information? That's unclear.
The committee also gave the Justice Department just 2 weeks to deliver to Congress all of its files on Epstein and Maxwell. From subpoenas, testimony, and possible transcripts, if the president wanted all this to go away, that's unlikely. Joy Malvin, CTV News, Washington.
E-transfers, they're one of the most popular ways to send and receive money in Canada, with more than 1 billion transactions happening each year.
It's generally a safe way to move money, but e-transfer fraud is on the rise as hackers find new ways to get into your bank account. CTV's Pat Foran has this consumer alert.
I was shocked. I thought this could never happen to me.
Lola Bielavuk of Toronto was using Poshmark, a website that brings together buyers and sellers, allowing users to purchase new and secondhand items. Bielavuk posted pajamas for $40 and someone offered to buy them.
I saw a link there that was for $40, which is what I was selling it for, an e-transfer. Perfect.
Bielavuk says she was sent what looked like a regular e-transfer link, so she decided to deposit the money.
I clicked Tangerine. I put in my client number and password. So I entered in the security code thinking everything is fine.
But after she did that, the website froze. Someone she didn't know added their name to her e-transfer contact list, and she was scammed out of $2,740. This happened in January. She's been trying for 6 months to get her money back without success.
And I was told that my claim was denied, that I was the one that was negligent.
Tangerine Bank told CTV News Tangerine will never ask you to download software or remote access apps, and you should never share your login information or one-time passcodes with anyone.
Think before you click. Just don't go ahead and click on links that have been sent to you.
Cybersecurity expert Ritesh Kotek says AI is making it easier for criminals to create real-looking e-transfers and banking websites. He says scammers send fake links hoping you'll click on them.
You think you're logging into a financial institution such as your bank, but in actuality, you're logging in and giving your information to these fraudsters and hackers.
Kotak advises using auto deposits, strong passwords, and making sure you're on trusted websites. After CTV News reached out to Tangerine Bank, they reviewed Bielavuk's case again and told her, our recovery efforts with the other financial institution were ultimately successful and your funds have been fully recovered. Bielavuk has now been given a full refund, which was great news for her.
Thank you, CTV, for helping me get my money back. From the bottom of my heart, I'm so grateful. Thank you for everything.
Pat Foran, CTV News.
An iconic accessories chain that is a staple in malls plans to seek creditor protection in Canada after filing for bankruptcy in the U.S. Claire's CEO says the company is making this move because of increased competition, consumer spending trends, and the shift away from brick-and-mortar retail. Claire stores in North America will remain open during the process, which it says will help monetize assets and allow it to explore strategic alternatives. This is the second time the company has filed for bankruptcy. It first did so in 2018.
A 90-year-old Ottawa woman is speaking out after becoming the victim of a distraction theft. It's a cautionary tale, and unfortunately one that's happened before. CTV's Katie Griffin reports.
Thank God she didn't get this one, because that was my wedding ring.
At 90 years old, Terry Thompson has seen a lot. Never anything like this.
And I look at my hand, my ring was gone. She took the ring at the same time that she took the old ring off.
While having a smoke outside Ogilvie Villa retirement home Sunday, Thompson says she was approached by a woman who forcefully put jewelry on her.
I said, I don't want any. You keep it, you wear it. And all of a sudden, she grabbed my hand, put the ring on, and then all of a sudden, she took it off. I said, take that off. And she was gone in about a second.
Also gone, a cherished aquamarine and diamond ring.
You know, my husband gave me that in 1975.
The loss of it, heartbreaking.
I'm sad for my mom, upset. Hopefully they can catch this person.
Last month, police asked for help identifying suspects involved in distraction thefts targeting the elderly, including a 92-year-old robbed of a necklace and 2 rings in her driveway on Hillary Avenue, and a gold necklace stolen from a 94-year-old on Beaver Pond Drive. To help protect yourself from distraction thefts, police say to avoid displaying expensive or sentimental jewelry in public. Stay alert to your surroundings, especially in parking lots. Don't allow strangers to touch you, and if approached under suspicious circumstances, walk away and seek help. From Thompson, a simple plea.
Please bring my ring back.
Katie Griffin, CTV News, Ottawa.
Burlington's Victoria Mboko will be looking to extend her remarkable wildcard run at the National Bank Open tonight. The 18-year-old will play 9th-seeded Elena Rybakina of Kazakhstan in the semifinal match in Montreal. Mboko has defeated 5 higher-ranked opponents en route to the semifinals, including top seed Coco Gauff in the 4th round. At a Davisville tennis camp today, one of the coaches was in awe.
Well, I mean, it's been really incredible to see, you know, it's just, she's so young and she's so humble, and the way she's been able to hit the ball and her forehands and backhands and her strokes, it's really just something else that I really like. It's really hard to describe, you know. She's so young in that she just went right up through the ranks, you know. She's in the top 50 now for women's, and she's so young, but she has so much potential for her future that it would be really incredible to see her win the National Bank Open. I mean, now that she's in the semifinals, I've seen, and yeah, I mean, it's really been really nice to watch on TV.
And we'll be watching Naomi Osaka of Japan plays Clara Tauson of Denmark in the other semifinal. The final is set for tomorrow.
The Blue Jays will be looking to sweep the Colorado Rockies today after another lopsided win on the road.
Really pounding that fastball at times. Now he drives it the other way to right field and out of here. 3-0 green light for Guerrero, and he punches out his 17th home run of the season.
Vladimir Guerrero Jr. hit a home run in the 6th inning, and on the very next pitch, Addison Barger did the same thing. Also in that inning, Jays outfielder Joey Loperfido did leave the game after he took a fastball to the knee. The final score, 10-4 for the Jays. This comes after Toronto beat the Rockies 15-1 in the series opener. Today's game is a matinee. First pitch is just after 3 p.m., and pitcher Kevin Gausman will get the start for the Jays.
Coming up, a jewel detective teams up with an Olympian to find a precious keepsake. We'll have those details after this short break.
A bike ride through Vancouver's Stanley Park turned into a desperate search when a Canadian Olympian lost a special gold bracelet.
It's something Madison Maley brought to celebrate her team's gold medal victory in Tokyo. As Sinjin Alexander reports, she turned to a specialized sleuth for help.
Chris Turner is the first to admit you can't find them all. But he has been successful more than 500 times, he says, and that's why his friends call him the ring finder.
Doing this and holding up somebody's ring and seeing how it affects their life is the best thing I've ever done.
His latest client, Vancouver's Madison Maley, who bought this Cartier bracelet to remember her rowing team's gold medal victory in Tokyo, says it vanished on Thursday while she was out for a bike ride in Stanley Park.
And had it inscribed with Olympic champion, Canadian Women's Aid.
Her husband, Olympian Maxwell Latimer, helped her search up and down without any luck until dark. As a last resort, they picked up the phone.
Okay, so we came around the trail.
Now on the job, the ring finder wasn't thrilled with the odds.
Yeah, it didn't sound good. I mean, how do you actually retrace a bike path and for maybe 2 or 3 miles?
But before they even began to look, the jewel sleuth asked a good 20 minutes worth of questions when something triggered and he knew how to focus the hunt.
Let me just see something.
With Maley at work, the men took the road less traveled, where the path narrows near Beaver Lake.
Max, whatever you do, keep focused on the right side, because if we're going to find it, it's going to be on the right side.
And within minutes,
Max looks down and goes...
Max found one half.
And the look, his eyes were like this big.
The ring finder, the other.
He was vibrating. He was so excited because Max really didn't think there was a chance.
I'm shaking.
How does that feel?
We gave up last night.
How does that feel?
Time to tell Maley they played it coy.
I felt like I won the gold medal.
I can't believe it. By the way, the bracelet wasn't broken. It just needs a couple of screws and is as good as new and back where it belongs. St. Alexander, CTV News, Vancouver.
Well, the weather here at home, we've got heat, we've got some smoke, but not much in the way of wet weather.
We're not holding on to any real chance of significant rain in the next 7 days. So if you have really dry grass, maybe your plants are struggling, it's just gonna, I don't have any relief for you, unfortunately. But hopefully in the long run, you do get some rain. It's been a fairly dry start to the month of August. We're holding on to some cloud cover, and again, that wildfire smoke still very much apparent when you look outside. But overall, it's not the worst. We're holding on to a daytime high pretty close to seasonal. Overnight, it does stay relatively warm. Now, as we head in towards the evening, we are going to see temperatures hold on around 20 degrees. So if you don't have AC, it could be a little challenging. Right now, we're at 24, but it feels like 31. And don't let the little bit of cloud cover or smoke fool you. We still have a very high UV index, so you still need sun protection. I know some folks are like, well, it's not terribly sunny. I'm going to be all right. No. Protect yourself. But temperature-wise, as we head in towards the weekend, be prepared for the potential of heat warnings, guys. So just a heads up.
Thanks, Jess. And that is CTV News at noon. Remember, you can get Toronto's breaking news all day long on CP24 and at our website, ctvnewstoronto.ca.
For Jess Smith and the whole team here, have a pleasant afternoon. I'm Michelle Dubin.
And I'm Raheem Ladani. Be sure to join us later for CTV News at 5 and 6.